Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and over the next 30 days, I plan to get off acid reflux medication. When I posted my transformation series of videos, one of the things that I mentioned a couple of times was that I have been on acid reflux medication for a number of years, probably more than 10 years, between omeprazole and pantoprazole and probably some others. And whenever I mentioned that, that drew some very concerned comments from people saying, you gotta get off that stuff is poison. If you start using apple cider vinegar regularly, it will get rid of your acid reflux. So currently, I am on pantoprazole. What are some of the side effects of long-term use of pantoprazole? Long-term, which means over 3 years of use, which I definitely have, side effects can include bone fractures, serious nerve damage and brain function impairment, chronic inflammation of the stomach lining, diarrhea, nausea, fever, rash, confusion, bloating, elevated blood pressure, and gland polyps that can become cancerous. Awesome. The phrase that comes to mind is, the cure is worse than the disease. I've had reflux for a long time, and I know what it feels like to not be on reflux medication. It hurts. It feels like someone is ripping barbed wire up my esophagus. It's really, really unpleasant. But those side effects also sound pretty unpleasant. So I'm willing to try going on apple cider vinegar. I'm going to start by consuming 4 tablespoons of it per day in a tonic. And I'm going to show you how I make that tonic in a moment. The recipe is largely the same as the one by Dr. Nick Zarowski, and I'll put the link to that down below. Now, I've scaled up Dr. Nick's recipe so that I don't have to make it individually each time. So we've got about 2 quarts of water, then 2/3 of a cup of apple cider vinegar, organic with the mother, 1/3 cup of lemon juice, and I use this volcanic lemon juice from Costco, 1/3 of a teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt, finely ground, 1/3 of a teaspoon of powdered ginger, and 2/3 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Lastly, I'm going to add a few squirts of liquid stevia, just to kind of cut down on the tartness of this. Then we'll mix it up. After this sits in the fridge for a little while, that cinnamon is going to settle down at the bottom, and then when we use this plunger here, it'll mix up nicely for our tonic. Most of the recommendations that I've seen for apple cider vinegar tonic recommend that you consume it through a straw to kind of limit the amount of acid that gets on your teeth. This tastes like a tart apple pie. Pretty good stuff. I'm going to start, like I said, consuming 2 of these a day, which should equate to about 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. If I decide that I need to up the amount, if I'm feeling sort of refluxy, I'll do that. But here we go, day 1. We're on day 7 now of no pantoprazole. I've been drinking 2 of my apple cider vinegar tonics a day. And I've only really had one sort of reflux incident. That was day 4. I had made a big batch of very spicy chili, and I probably ate a little too much of it a little too late in the evening, and I washed it down with some Old Vine Zinfandel. So probably a combination of all of those things, and then just, going to bed before it had completely moved through me. I woke up and had a little bit of that refluxy feeling. I took a couple of Tums and was feeling better. But lesson learned there, first off, eat a little bit earlier in the evening if it's going to be one of those potentially reflux-inducing type of foods. And also, I think, really limit myself to maybe 1 glass of wine with a meal until I know that I've completely eliminated some of this stuff. So I would say on the whole, so far so good. Cheers. So last night I did the really spicy chili and red wine thing again. I know you're thinking,
You're not very bright, are you, Steve? You just said that that was probably a bad idea on day 7, and now you did it again. Well, I'm here to tell you, no ill effects at all. No reflux, nothing. So, I'm starting to think that this apple cider vinegar thing is doing the trick.
It's been 4 weeks now since I've had pantoprazole. I've been having my apple cider vinegar tonic once or twice a day, every day, except yesterday I forgot to drink it. And I still felt fine. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop drinking it, because I've kind of acquired a taste for it. I know it's doing good things for me, and I know that it has put an end to my reflux and GERD and heartburn and all of that stuff. So I'm going to give this 2 more days. That'll make it 30 days, and then I'll give you my summary. I'm trying to figure out how long I have been on acid reflux medication. It's got to be at least 15 years. It started when I had this persistent cough, and it wasn't a chest cough. It was up here in the throat, or slightly lower, and it just wouldn't go away. There was always this tickle that would make me cough. And eventually my doctor sent me to an ear, nose, and throat specialist, who then looked down my throat and saw that my issue was acid reflux. Essentially what was happening is every time I would cough, there would be a little spritz of stomach acid that would shoot up into my esophagus, irritating it, and then making me cough, which would then cause another spritz of acid to come up, and it was sort of this vicious circle. And he put me on omeprazole. And I was on omeprazole for probably 4 or 5 years before that lost its effectiveness, and my doctor switched me to pantoprazole, which I guess is a heavier hitter. So I have been on either omeprazole or pantoprazole for around 15 years. For around 15 years, I've been buying this stuff. I have been taking it daily. And I have been exposing myself to the potential side effects that I listed at the beginning of this video. And after 30 days of consuming apple cider vinegar in a tonic, I have no more acid reflux. Swish, right into the garbage there. Now you may be wondering why I don't seem super happy at the moment. Part of me is very happy. I mean, there is few feelings better than getting off of a medication. There are few feelings better than to have a chronic disease or ailment go away. It's like being emancipated. It's the only word I can think of. I'm free. I'm free of this medication. I am free of the pain that I was feeling, and that is awesome. And it's awesome that I did it with apple cider vinegar. Just this stuff that was in the pantry and has been in my pantry for the whole time that I've been on this medication. But I'm also kind of angry because I have been through 4 doctors in the last 15 years. I keep switching primary care, family practice physicians, trying to find somebody that I like. And not a single one of them looked at nutrition as a way of making me better. The answer was always a prescription. And I think that's probably the standard story for most people's healthcare experiences. It's unfortunate, and I'm angry at the waste of that part of my life for 15 years. I'm angry that I was allowed to continue to be in this condition for 15 years, having to deal with reflux. But then we'll also come back and say that I'm so happy that now we live in a time and we've got this community here, this keto community that's able to share information and learn from one another and provide the health information that we can't get from our healthcare professionals. So to kind of summarize, I understand I'm just one data point. Your mileage may vary, but if you are suffering from acid reflux, maybe give this a try. See if you can wean yourself off the medication, because I tell you, drinking sort of a tart apple pie tonic a couple times a day, to me, far better way to go than popping a pill. Thanks for watching.